Although they became obsolete for most business communications, homers remain crucial military tools. In both World Wars I and II, homing pigeons provided a reliable means of delivering messages. They were used in the desert, over Arctic terrain, and in the densest of Asian jungles. They were often released behind enemy lines, from aeroplanes and from ships far out at sea. Many a downed airman owes his life to a pigeon he let go as he bobbed in a tiny rubber raft in the ocean. An American homing pigeon known as G.I. Joe saved the lives of over 1,000 British soldiers in World War II when he carried a message 20 miles in only 20 minutes to stop the bombing of an area the British troops had just overrun. G.I. Joe was one of thousands of pigeons used in wartime. Their loyalty and heart resulted in birds delivering vital messages in spite of mortal bullet wounds and missing eyes or feet as the result of enemy gunfire. Pigeons were so reliable, they were often the only way messages were sent without being coded. And in the 5 years of World War II, military birds successfully delivered an incredible 98% of hundreds of thousands of messages. Today, only the Swiss, French, and Israeli armies still use the reliable couriers. But the birds' delivery skills have also resulted in their continued use to fly blood samples from remote areas and to carry industrial data and other materials over crowded urban highways. Released in a town they have never seen before, rising from the ground hundreds of miles away from home, these racers take only minutes to get their bearings. Then 1 pound of flesh and feathers hurtles home over the earth at 50 miles an hour. They can fly from sunrise to sunset. In terms of a marathon, there is no match for their stamina. And no level of competition can match the thousands of wings that vie to achieve the fastest speed. The race is not only to the swift, it is to the one who is among the first to determine the correct route home. It's to the leader who never falters, the bird that never stops, and on arrival, goes immediately into the loft. For all the unique traits of a champion, each pigeon's life starts as any other. The lengthening days of spring spark the hormones in both male and female. The courtship habits of pigeons are marked by a level of love and devotion seen in few other birds. The larger, swaggering cockbirds strut their stuff to any and all females who will listen. The deep, melodious cooing comes from the males' throats as they inflate their crops. For every strutting male there is in the pigeon world, a coy hen. And while first ignoring the cockbird or walking out of his bulldozing advances, sooner or later, the lady will succumb. The mood changes. The male pretends to preen. The hen does the same. As they draw closer, the magic builds. They exchange a quivering first kiss. The chemistry of this moment is important. Love and mutual attraction are vital, because these two birds will remain forever together. Nature has wisely made pigeons' love life a satisfactory experience for both partners. And after they join for a brief moment, their wings quiver with excitement. Like many birds, pigeons are gregarious. A modern breeding loft looks like a small apartment house. But the bird's gregarious nature does not include their own nest. Nothing in the universe is more important than the little piece of real estate they call home. Birds will fight almost to the death to defend this space. And to this special place, the male calls his mate to nest. The quiet cooing fills the pigeon loft, and these birds of peace also affectionately massage each other by gently opening and closing their beaks. A week after they first kiss, the hen retires to the nest box to await the first egg. As the sun begins to set, she exerts herself to lay the pure white egg. It is the first of two. Until the second arrives 2 days later, the birds will not warm this egg. Like a seed without soil or moisture, the spark of life in the egg only begins at 82 degrees. The birds instinctively know that by awaiting and then starting to incubate both eggs together, they will hatch within hours of each other. This means that the baby in the first egg is not older and thus stronger than the other. This gives them both an equal chance to survive. Now comes a peaceful 2 weeks in their married lives. Both male and female take turns incubating the eggs. As the 17th day approaches, the baby stirs within the egg, and with the aid of a sharp point called the egg tooth on its tiny beak, it circles the inside of the shell with a line of cracks. Once weakened, the top of the shell yields to the final great pushes of the tiny pigeon as it enters the world. It can take over a day for the baby to break out of the egg. Hatching within hours of each other, the slightly older youngster sometimes helps his exhausted nestmate by removing the shell from its head. Their eyes are closed. Without their parents, they are helpless. This birthing drama takes place beneath the parent's warming breast, and after a period of rest, a tiny head wobbles up for its first meal. Like few other birds on Earth, both parents develop a milky secretion inside their crops. For the first 5 days of the baby's lives, this rich pigeon milk, as it's called, will nourish the young birds. As father takes his turn with the newborns, instinct tells mother to keep things tidy, and she removes the sharp-edged shell from the nest. At 3 days, their eyes are open. Their body weight has doubled. At a week, feathers begin to appear, and again they've gained weight rapidly. They now weigh 5 times more than at birth. The equivalent of a human baby achieving 3 years of growth in 7 days. Before they grow too large, they are banded with a seamless metal ring. Slipped over their tiny feet, this registration band carries the year they were born, the club they'll race in, and an identification number that is each bird's alone. No pigeon can race without this band. At 2 weeks, they're flapping and noisy youngsters. I'm sure you can tell why pigeon breeders call them squeakers. They have faces only a mother could love. They're losing their porcupine appearance. The mass of tiny quills are beginning to open, and the feathers sheathed inside spring free. When full grown, these birds will carry almost 10,000 feathers, none more important than the long, supple flight feathers that make up the bird's wing. At this age, the young bird's plumage color becomes apparent. The little creatures possess instinctive behavior, such as their attempts to appear tough and intimidating to their keeper's gentle hand. Between the 2nd and 3rd week, the youngsters undergo another growth spurt. Now they're ready for the transition from parental care to a life on their own. A young pigeon is considered ready to leave the nest when the growth of feathers under its wings covers the last portion of exposed skin. For 3 weeks, the young birds have eaten, slept, and apart from banding, had little contact with man. This is about to change. The youngsters now enter a stage of training where one goal is paramount: to come home as quickly as possible. At less than a month old, these gawky, squeaky babies are hardly the feathered jets of the bird racing world. At this stage, their first lesson is to eat and drink on their own. Like tiny children learning to coordinate their writing skills, eye-beak coordination is less than exact. It takes all of the young bird's power of concentration and a lot of misses to capture an elusive pea. The bird's keeper also gently shows the babies how to drink water. Unlike other birds, pigeons swallow water like a horse. With the last sprigs of yellow baby down sticking out like stuffing from a rag doll, these young minds are absorbing the surroundings of their loft in great detail. Pigeons somehow imprint the location of home, and part of their training is for these youngsters, still too young to fly, to see, hear, and smell the outside world and view the open sky. The next step is to learn to fly. As their wings grow rapidly, the young birds experiment with liftoff. Like little children, nothing can prepare them for what's to come. As they first take flight outside their home, their piloting skills are no match for the power and speed the young bodies can generate. Like new drivers, these early days are a comedy of tail-spinning takeoffs, near mid-air collisions, and missed landings. The ecstasy of flight is apparent in these young flyers, and their uncoordinated early efforts soon give way to the single most beautiful sight in the pigeon flight. fires